Hey everybody, Ash here with Gents, back with a lazy video where I'm not in front of my actual camera, I'm just in front of the webcam. So I wanted to do a video on Perfume Parlour. I've actually had these fragrances for a really long time. Have you seen these before, Perfume Parlour? So it's a company based out of the UK, and they just do inspired by fragrances of other fragrances. So basically they're like the UK's version of Dua. They have a whole crap load of fragrances on their website, niche, discontinued, designer, the whole gamut. So I'm going to tell you what I think about these four that I got, and let you know whether they're worth purchasing or not. Let's do it. So here was my bright idea. I thought I'll get 4 fragrances, one really expensive niche, one really popular niche, one really popular designer, one discontinued designer. That was my plan. So the 4 fragrances that I got copies of are these ones over here. Ooh, Creed Aventus. Can't get much more popular than that, right? For the expensive niche, Clive Christian, #1. For the discontinued designer, Gucci Envy, because it's my favorite. And for the popular designer, Spice Bomb. I figured why not. So let's go ahead and talk about these. First off, I guess we'll talk about the Aventus clone. It is named Aventus, but check this out. I have to block everything or it doesn't want to work. Let's check out Aventus. So when you first spray this on, it's actually fairly close to Aventus. You get a little bit of birch, you know, some of that smoke, and then the pineapple is more like a bergamot, but at least it's still got a juicy freshness to it. Then about 20 minutes in, it goes pretty crappy, if I'm being honest. It dries down really quick, so there's not much projection. People aren't going to be able to really pick it up. And it gets a weird, funky kind of smell. It doesn't really smell like Aventus anymore. For a decent amount of the life of the fragrance, it comes off smelling like you put your hands in a stream or a river or something, and you let it air dry, and it smells maybe a little weird. It's kind of what this smells like. That weird fragrance, that weird scent, that lingers for a while. Once it hits what I'll call the full dry down, it gets closer to Aventus again. But honestly, that's probably the worst Aventus clone that I've ever smelled. And there are lots and lots of Aventus clones out there that are cheap, like Insurrection Pure 2, Club de Nuit Intense Man, L'Aventure, on and on and on and on. And that's one of the worst. So just don't do it. Not worth it. That one, bad. Next, let's talk about this one. Spice Booms. Woo! What a name, Spice Booms. So, Spice Booms starts off really sweeter and not spicier. It's not a great Spice Bomb clone, so it's sweeter than it is spicier. It never really gets all that spicy, and since the name is Spice Bomb, it's kind of an issue. In the far dry down, it's a little bit powdery and still sweet. It's not a complete trash fragrance like Aventus, but it's not a great one either. If I were going to make a suggestion to you, something that's cheaper than Spice Bomb but is going to give you a similar feel, Bulgari Man in Black is probably the way to go. This one, just bleh, it's forgettable, and it's not close enough to Spice Bomb to really warrant a purchase in my opinion. It's basically like you take the Spice Bomb DNA, remove 75 to 80% of the spice, insert kind of a syrupy sweetness in the opening, and then make it powdery in the dry down. That's Spice Booms. I'm sounding really harsh. I mean, it's okay, but it's not good. Check this out. I'm going to spray myself. You can see how oily this stuff is. Boom. Hit myself with a double shot. Double shot of Spice Booms. Alright, check my hand. Can you see that? Yeah, there it is. Look at that sheen. Look at that Charlie Sheen right there. Maybe that's a Martin Sheen. I don't know. But either way, it's really oily. And so when you spray this stuff on, it leaves a big oil splotch wherever you spray it. And then if you rub your hand over top of where you sprayed it, even hours later, it feels strange. Like there's a semi-sticky residue on your hand, arm, neck, wherever you're going to spray it. So that could be a potential issue if you have somebody in close proximity to you. Woo! That Spice Booms. It is sweet off the top. Now, I've seen some reviews online other people did of Perfume Parlour stuff where they said it was really, really good. I don't know if it's because I have the sprays Maybe they're not as high quality, maybe they don't smell as good, I don't know. Maybe it's the actual fragrances that I chose, maybe these aren't the best representations that they've done. Maybe they have other ones that are like way higher quality, smell way closer to what they're supposed to be imitating. Because I know they do oils and they do sprays, and of course I elected for the sprays because I figured that would be the thing that most people would want to go for, you know, because typically with the fragrance you want to get it sprayed on and go, right? So whatever. Let's check out these last two. Check out this bad boy. Oh, yeah! Clive 1. Oh, that's what it says. Just trust me. It says Clive 1. So obviously Clive 1 is Clive Christian #1, right? Boom. Now, as far as the 4 that I got go, this one is the one that smells closest to what it's supposed to be inspired by. Clive Christian #1 is really expensive, but it's not necessarily something I would want to smell like. Even though I own it, I got it for a good price. But it's kind of reminiscent of like a little bit of a grandma perfume, old flowers, powdery. So even though it's really, really expensive, even the original, like, I don't really like that much. This one actually smells pretty close to Clive Christian #1. It sucks for you, Clive Christian #1, because you're expensive as hell. And Perfume Parlour came closer to smelling like you than it did Aventus or Spice Bomb. Tisk tisk, Clive Christian. So this one is the closest one of the 4 that I got. It's still not an amazing fragrance, but that's just because Clive Christian #1 really isn't my taste, or really isn't to my taste. That one's pretty close though. It doesn't smell really cheap. It doesn't smell ultra crappy. It just smells dated, or classic, you could say, if you want to be like really PC about it and be nice about it. That one's a decent impersonation. If you want something that smells close to Clive Christian #1, but you don't want to spend bukus of money, that one you could go for. And this is the last one of the 4. Yeah, Gucci Envyus. I finally got it to show up. So that's Gucci Envy. Gucci Envy, one of my favorites. I have 2 bottles of this. I still use it sparingly because I don't want to run out of the 2 bottles that I do have. Now, when you initially spray Gucci Envyus on, it does not smell like Gucci Envy. It smells like a hot mess. Like the incense is completely missing. Doesn't really smell that good. It smells like a dollar store ripoff of an attempted barbershop fragrance in the opening. So basically it smells like crap. It's something you would never want to smell, something you would never want to smell like. Then when it dries down, about 30 minutes in, it gets a lot closer to Gucci Envy. So it does kind of an ugly duckling transformation. Initially, it's just trash, basically something that I would never want to smell like in 1,000 years. And then as it dries down, it gets a lot closer to Gucci Envy. And it becomes kind of a passable imitation once it hits that dry down. It's still not as good as Gucci Envy, and honestly, Carven Homme is a much better choice if you want something that smells close to Gucci Envy, but is cheap. But it's okay once it hits the dry down. It's not super bad. It's alright. It's hard to say that it's worth buying, but it smells decent. It smells like basically like a knockoff version of Gucci Envy in the dry down. The opening though, really, really bad, and with the alternatives and everything that are already available for that fragrance, it doesn't do it for me. If it were like 80%, you know, or 85% close to Gucci Envy, then I would be like, oh yeah, home run. But more realistically, it's like 60%, maybe 55. I'm gonna go ahead and do a giveaway with these two. Once this video hits 400 likes, if you have left a comment that says you want to be entered in the giveaway, I'll do a random comment picker. Whoever wins, I'll pin that person to the top of the comments. Reach out to me via email or YouTube Messenger, and I will send you all 4 of these, so you can have them all. You can have a ball. Like I said, I've seen reviews from other people that say that Perfume Parlour is really nice, so if you have better results with them or have had better results with them, let me know in the comments. Maybe I made some bad choices here. Yeah, but that's pretty much my take on them. It seems like they're really hit or miss. When they miss hard, and when they hit, it's okay. So apparently I missed the ones that they did that are just home runs. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching my lazy video in front of the webcam. I apologize for the lack of awesome editing and color grading and all that other stuff that I would typically do. But hopefully you forgive me. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time.